let's make a symmetrical gather skirt, two-piece gather skirt in top. So first I'm marking my starting point. I'm gonna go down by 10 inches. This will be the length of the first half cut of the skirt. Here I'm just marking full length just as a guide, but I won't be using that. So I'm marking my 10 inch. I'm also marking this line which I won't be using. I'll go down by half inch and I'm gonna slope it. Since our waist is not straight, I added 1 inch allowance, sewing allowance, and 1 inch zipper allowance. And I'm gonna do same thing for my hip line, which is the 10 inch. And yeah, added 1 inch as zipper allowance, and I'm gonna mark that as well. I went down by 2 inch. This would be the for the slope, the slant of the skirt. So 2 inch is the difference. So, but this 2 inch, I'm not gonna cut it out. I'm still gonna mark it in a straight way, which is what I'm doing here. So I mark it straight so that as a guide to cut out the piece for now. And I'm gonna cut out the half inch I marked on the waist, which is our waist slope. So now I'm going to repeat the 2 inch measurement I did on the hem part of the skirt so that it gives us more option to cut from the right or from the left, and accuracy too. So remember the difference is 2 inch. So I decided to go with I think the right part or the left part. I can't remember. Do you? So I'm going to mark out 0.75 on the side for zipper bulge just to avoid that zipper bulge, and I'm going to connect it to the center piece of the skirt. I'm going to do this for the back piece of the skirt as well. And for the back piece, I went up by 1 inch, which is what I'm doing here on the center part of the waistline, and I connected it to the sides, and I'm just going to cut that out. So I'm just indicating the front and the back piece and side rather. We are done with that basically. So now I'm cutting a square fabric for the gather part of the skirt, which I'm going to show you later. So just do you for in that aspect. So I'm marking the starting line for the top piece. So I'm marking 18 inches in length, and I'm gonna rule that out. I marked 7.5 inch for the shoulder line. I also marked 10 inch for the bust point, 8 inch for the chest line, and I'm just gonna rule that out. So now I'm marking 7.5 inch again, which is the shoulder line. I'm gonna join it together. Then I'm pinning my fabric so that it doesn't move much. I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. I marked 3 inch for the neck width, and I'm just gonna connect it like so. Divided it by 2, came out by half an inch, and I'm gonna connect it to the tip of the shoulder slant. So marking my measurement, which is bust divided by 4 plus sewing allowance plus extra 4 inches. And I'm just marking it all the way down, and I'm going to square it. So no need to mark out my waist measurement and all that. So I'm connecting my curve. So the t-shirt is going to be big, so that's why there's no need. And I marked 4 inch actually in depth of the neckline. So sorry for the mistake. Neck depth is 4 and width is 3. So for the back piece of the top, I left 1 inch allowance on the center part, and I went up by 1.5 inch on the depth of the back piece, and I just connected it like so, and I'm just gonna mark that out. So I'm cutting it open because I'll be putting a button there. So for the sleeve, I'm gonna fold it in a flare form. So I want the sleeve really wide because I'm gonna be putting elastic as well. So I'm marking my starting line, and I'm marking 3 inch, later 4 inch, which I'm gonna be using later, and 3 inch at the starting line. And I'm just gonna freehand my curve. So you can do it differently, but this one works best for me. So cross check your measurements because you don't want your sleeve shorter than your armhole curve. So that's what I'm just trying to make sure I have the accurate measurement I need. So I'm making adjustments accordingly. Basically, I marked 12 inch in length, and I'm just cutting that out. So this is what we have. So this is the square fabric for the gathered part, like I said. So it's basically times 3 of your hemline, yeah, or 2, depending on the amount of fabric you have. So I'm gonna cut out interfacing for the front skirt and the back piece of the skirt as well. So as you can see, I marked 3 inch on each side, and I just took out the skirt, marked it straight, ruled it straight, and that's it. So for the back piece, I'm gonna show you how I did it as well. So place it, get the curve on the waistline. Most importantly, mark 3 inches on each side, and you're just gonna cut it out like I'm doing. Cut out the 3 inch on the side, take out the piece, the main piece, rule to the end, to each end, and cut it out. That's it. So make sure you pin it, indicates which is the waist, which is the for which piece, the front piece. Also just pin it together for accuracy. So I'm going to be cutting interfacing for the front top as well, and I'm marking 4 inch in length and 2 inch on the shoulder side, the shoulder line or part, and I'll take out the main fabric and curve it. So pin for accuracy again. So 4 inch and then 2 inch, and I'm going to do the same thing for the back piece of the top as well. So 4 inch and 2 inch on the shoulder. Take out the main fabric and just, okay, I pinned it first and curve and just cut it out. So this is actually quite really easy. So pin each piece so that you wouldn't make a mistake. So stitch shoulder to shoulder of the main fabric, stitch the interfacing together, the back and the front piece, and this is what you're gonna have basically. So it's time to join it or sew it round the neckline of the main piece. So mark the notch the center part so that you'll be accurate. So I made this button loop, and I'm gonna place it under before I stitch down the interfacing, just for that neat, look. So that's what I'm doing here. Place it and stitch down the interfacing. Yeah. So this is all we have. Cut out excess fabric and notch so that it can lay flat, right? That's just what I'm doing here. Just notch it all around. Yeah. So remember to top stitch. This is the button loop. Remember to top stitch and also tack your interfacing. You can use hairstay on your interfacing as well. So this is the armhole. Mark, notch the center of your armhole and your sleeve, and just sew accordingly. So here I'm cutting out the excess I had, and yeah, it's better to have excess than not to have enough. And now it's time to attach elastic to the sleeve. So I stitched the elastic straight on the sleeve and double folded and stitched on. I didn't like this method. It's better to create a loop, which is what I did for the hem side of the top. So I ironed down the hem first and stitched it, then passed my elastic through. So this was much simpler. So time for the skirt, and I'm stitching one side of the skirt, just one side, and I'm gonna attach or stitch the interfacing together as well. So this is what we have on the skirt, one side stitch and the interfacing stitched as well. So we're gonna stitch the interfacing on the skirt and gather our fabric, the square fabric we had cut out. So it's 2 piece, remember. So I'm adjusting the gathered fabric onto each side of the skirt. So that means we have 2 sides to stitch down. So attach your zipper, make sure your measurements align, attach your zipper and stitch down on each side of the skirt and hem your skirt as well. And there you have it. Basically that's on That's all. So tag down your interfacing like I did here, and this is what you've got. So it was a really basic project. So I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in my next video. So if you have any questions, you can ask in the comment section, of course. So yeah, bye.